What is up, everyone? JD here. I hope you're all doing well today. Today, I'm excited to bring my full review of the Divo mashed potato. What do we got going on? We're going to be going through knife specs, size comparisons, and then jump into my thoughts and impressions on this knife. Let's go ahead and get into this Divo mash. The mash has a 3.3 inch 14C28N blade, 4.2 inch titanium handles for an overall length of 7.5 inches. Weight is claimed to be 3.8 ounces. Let me grab the scale and bring that out here and confirm. Let's see here, coming in at 3.9, so just a little bit heavier than the claimed 3.8 ounces. Nothing wrong with that. There's little variances that cause that, so not surprised by that at all. Let's go ahead and do our size comparisons. First, we're going to bring out the Dimco AD 20.5, which is going to be pretty close in size to this, and then we'll bring out the Spyderco Shaman, which is going to be a little bit bigger. Hopefully these size references are helping you. We'll do some thickness profile comparisons here in just a moment. Let me move these out of the way. We'll bring out the Benchmade Bug Out, a great size reference there. That's a nice EDC size. And we'll bring out the Hogue Sig K320. Again, a couple more size reference knives. We'll move these along, and we're going to do a couple budget knives to help you reference, again, the size of this knife, because sometimes doing the specs just really don't do it. That is the Vosteed Raccoon, and then we have the Civivi Conspirator. I'm trying to line up the pivots here so you can get an idea, again, the size of the knife. We're going to get the Conspirator off the table, and we're going to do a thickness profile comparison for this knife to really help you understand how it'll carry in pocket and feel in hand. So as you can see here, it is even with the Vosteed Raccoon, and I'm going to switch up hands. Here it is against the Dimco AD 20.5, so those contoured handles are making it slightly thicker than the Dimco, and here it is against the Benchmade Bug Out with the contoured Lotus scales from Flytanium. I would say that it's just a slightly thicker knife. Now let me go ahead and jump into my thoughts and impressions of the mash. I really like this model from Divo Knives. Beautifully clean, simple lines. I appreciate the way that the lines carry through all the way to the handle. I think that's a really nice touch. Love the blade shape on here. Got that sheep's foot blade going on for me. Really neutral ergos, really comfortable in hand. As I mentioned, it is slightly contoured, so it feels really nice in hand. Even for my larger hands, a 7.5 inch knife is usually a little bit smaller for me, but this is going to be really nice. And the other thing, while I'm getting a little ahead of myself, let's go ahead and finish talking about the ergos. You got a nice titanium back spacer. You do have the wire pocket clip that is reversible. I can probably see myself upgrading to that Lynch Northwest pocket clip. Now, I have mixed feelings on the button here, button style. I wish it could have been recessed maybe and sit in a little flush. I think that's a little miss. It's a very nitpicky thing, admittedly, but it sticks up, and I just like how the pivots flush down into the scale, and I kind of wish that would have happened there. I think if they do a version 2, if they do additional runs, I'd probably say go ahead and get that fixed and have that recessed in there. I think with these contoured scales, they're going to be thick enough to where you should be able to go a little bit deeper with the wire to get that to sit flush. But again, very minor nitpick. I also love the stonewash finish on the titanium. A little hard to get it to show up because I have the vibrant light so you can see all the details when I'm doing these reviews, but it looks really, really good. Now you do have, let's get the light here so you can see, you do have just that inside milling on the show side, and then the nested liner lock here does not have any milling. So all the milling, and a lot of it, is on that show side to help reduce that weight and get it down to that 3.8 ounce weight. Access to the lock bar is really well done. Super comfortable to get at regardless of how you like to close your knife. So any of those actuation methods are going to be really, really nice. The other thing that I appreciate too is that little bit of that notch there for that sharpening choil, which is a little bit far out. I wish they could bring that back a little bit, or maybe even just carry it out a little. So it looks like it stops here, but as you can see, the light continues to bend. Let me see something. Let me bring something a little bit thinner than my finger out here. So you can see the light bends and it actually comes right out to about there. So you do have a little bit of a sharpening tool. It's not awful, but I feel like because they had that cutout there, could have gone a little bit better, could have had that grind come back. I don't think they need to go out further. I just think they need to get that grind line back. Sorry, I have been carrying and using it, so it is a little, got my fingerprints all over it. The Divo Knives logo in here, really well done. I was surprised that this pivot is so much smaller, and I'm going to bring this back out here in a little bit, but it is a lot smaller than it is on the QSP variant, which I really like the logo on. I think the laser etch is really tasteful, and it looks really cool, and it makes me think of Donkey Kong. But I love how the finishes have been very consistent on the knives that I've experienced so far. I haven't been able to get the growler. It's a little tough being a smaller channel, and Lefty doesn't send them out to everybody because he has a lot of people that want them. So really hard to get a hold of all of them, and I'm hoping a viewer out there will offer to Lynn to send one along, because I still would like to check it out. Again, really feels comfortable in hand. I love the contouring. With the larger hands, it feels very nice and very comfortable. The jimping could have gone out a little bit farther for me. I land just right out of the tip, but I still get a little bit of the traction on there, so that's good. I really have enjoyed using this for draw cuts, utility cuts. I can get way out on that tip because it is a little bit of a smaller knife. So I really appreciate that. The push cuts on this, it came with a pretty good edge from the factory. I don't know if anyone else out there has tested it. I'm gonna need to get another slice of paper, but really, really good. This is probably more because this paper has been sitting out here for a couple reviews, but really, really sharp from the factory. I could see probably touching it up or putting a little bit more of a steeper angle on it. It's pretty shallow from the factory, but it's still going to get the job done. And the hollow grind on this feels really, really thin behind the edge. I was surprised it was a hollow grind. I thought it was a flat grind, so I was not paying attention, and that is my fault. But it is super thin behind the edge, so you could lay this back a little bit. I'd probably say hit that at about 18 degrees, and it's going to be a super, super slicer. The action on this thing is really, really good. It is super smooth from the factory. Those are phosphor bronze washers, ceramic caged washers in the pivot. Just super, super smooth. That thing drops. The one thing I do like about this, the way that it's designed, I can let it drop to the thumb, and then it just wants to go home with almost no shake. That is some seriously good action on that. Great edge from the factory. I think this one is Kubi. I'm not 100% sure. I think this one is Kubi though. I will double check. I need to go back and look because I've been looking at the buzz here lately, and he did the pony stout. So I've kind of gotten confused on who's manufacturing what. But again, really great access to that liner lock. Super, super smooth action. This thing is a fidget monster. The one thing that I really did take for granted on this, I ordered this. I was tempted to get the reverse tucks, but I now have a couple of knives that have blacked out or reverse tucks looks, so I wanted to go with the satin finish. This really could be a gentlemanly carry. It looks really, really good. Now, my mind starts going immediately about how I can mod this and what I can do to this. But then, you know, I got it in hand and I was kind of like, do I really want to mod it? I mean, I have a ton of knives that I've anodized myself, and you can see a lot of them are blue. So maybe I do something a little bit green here, but I have a lot of knives that I've anodized and, you know, complementary colors with. I kind of want to leave it like that because I think it's super clean looking, and I think this would be something I could carry into the office. This would be something I could take out to dinner. I could carry to a wedding, and it looked really clean, just a really good looking knife. Now, the price point on this, before any discounts, and it is, and if I didn't mention, I apologize. I probably should have mentioned this way earlier. This is a Blue Creek exclusive, and the price point on it is $135.99. There are a couple of discount codes out there. I think Lefty should probably have one because it is Divo Knives, but there's a couple out there you can get 10% off of that. So for 14C 28N titanium, and it is a small designer knife and an exclusive to Blue Creek, I think that's a pretty fair price point. So what I'd like to do at that price point is just kind of mention some things that are around there that could be interesting alternatives. If you don't, and I missed this as well, the fact that it's a nested liner lock on this, I really like that, because you don't have to worry about the frame getting in the way. If you are ambidextrous or you can operate it left-handed, it works really well with the left hand, because you don't have anything frame wise that's going to prevent you from being able to comfortably actuate or deploy the blade. So again, I'm so excited. I'm missing stuff, but I really like this. So one possible alternative, I know that you can get these for around 110. It is a Tucson. I think Lefty's going to probably like throw up when he hears this alternative recommendation, but it's saving someone a little bit of money, right? You're getting 14C 28N stonewash blade. I think this is probably one of Tucson's better examples here. This is the TS270, if I didn't mention it. It is a frame lock. Really good if you want a larger knife too. This, for me, is a little bit more roomy than the Mash. And thank you, Satu Dave, for the forward finger choil on here. That really made a huge difference for me. I have a lot of left over here, but before the finger choil was installed, it was a really comfortable fit. It does have the contoured scales, and it has a very interesting integrated backspacer. I almost said integral, which is wrong. Integrated backspacer, because it's in the two halves, which is really interesting on that design point. Now, if you don't like the titanium, or if you can't quite swing, which I think is a very affordable premium budget knife, you could look at some of the Civivis out there. You have the Conspirator. If you don't like the button lock, I think you could look at some of their other models as well. Kaiser has them. I mean, you could look at anybody. Kubi. There's a ton out there. But for me, I think with the 10% discount code, which is what, $6-7 off maybe, I'm not quite sure, that's not right, my math is off. It's a little bit off of this, and again, it's giving you titanium over steel liners in micarta or steel and aluminum, which I think is really cool. It hits that kind of in-between spot. You're getting a good budget steel, you're getting a good hollow grind, a fidgety knife. I like this. This is a good model. I actually think, and I'm scared to say this, I think I like this design a little bit better than the Stout. I'm a sucker for clean lines, so I think that's probably why. Stout looks like two different halves to me. Again, it is comfortable in hand. I don't deny that. The build quality is there. The blade functionally works really well, but I feel like it's two different knives. I almost feel like it should have been like this blade on this handle, maybe. I don't know. But I actually think I like this design a little bit better than the Stout. But it is a great knife. That's my point here, and I can easily recommend it. I've very much enjoyed it so far. I think this is a home run, especially for those out there on a budget, and I'm so glad that Divo Knives did this for those out there that are on a tighter budget. It's really awesome. If you enjoyed today's review, do me a favor, leave a like. Consider subscribing if you're not already subscribed. I'd love to have you follow along as I continue to bring you the content. Thank you to everyone out there who has subscribed, leaving likes and comments on the regular. I appreciate you guys. I hope you have a fantastic week. If you have any questions about this from me that I didn't cover, let me know down in the comments and I'll try to respond. I hope you have a fantastic week, and until next time, peace.